Welcome to an episode of the Creative Differences podcast that is both soulful and wonderful. I'm Dallas, and I'm here to find out why so many black people don't like the new Wonder Woman movie.
I'm Gabby, and I have some thoughts on Soul, I think.
I'm Colin, and I'm wondering how you think you're going to get that, Dallas. I mean, there's only 2.5 black people on this podcast. We can't speak for the collective.
And I'm Demi, and wow, that was a lot. Welcome, guys. Welcome.
I love that you said 2.5.
I mean, it's correct.
Yeah, mathematically, you're not
It
wrong.
is correct.
Oh man, you guys, we are reviewing 3 movies today. If you could not guess, we are reviewing Soul, Wonder Woman 1984, and surprise, surprise, last minute edition, We Can Be Heroes.
Pedrito's in 2 of those, right?
Yes.
Yes, he
I
is.
think. Yes.
Ugh, I love Pedrito.
Before we start with Soul and the other two, please like, share, subscribe, rate, etc., because, that's going to help us find our spark, and we need that. We need that.
Aww.
All right, so
Moving
Soul.
on. Soul.
See.
All right, Soul is the newest Pixar movie and the first Black Pixar movie after, I think, what is the 25th, 24th movie? I don't know who I'm asking. You guys don't know.
Let me check my Pixar ranking list because I have
There
all
it
the
is.
Pixar movies on it. How many movies are on this? 21. There are 21
Oh, 21.
Pixar movies.
Okay,
At least
That was
there
close.
should be, unless I missed one on this list.
That is possible. Oh, well. Directed by Pete Docter, written by Pete Docter, Mike Jones, not the rapper, probably,
Damn
and
it.
Kemp Powers. It stars Jamie Foxx, Tina Fey, Questlove, Felicia Rashad, Daveed Diggs, Angela Bassett, etc., etc., etc.
Yay.
I liked
And
it.
Graham Norton, a surprise.
Oh my
Yeah,
god,
I
that
didn't-
was so great.
I didn't
And
realize he
Richard
was gonna be in
Ayoud.
it.
I love Richard Ayoud. I think that's how you pronounce
Ayawadi?
it. Is that how you pronounce it?
Ayoade?
Ayuwadi?
Yeah, Richard Ayawadi.
Okay, Richard Ayoudi.
And
Oh my
Elisa
god, I
Parker.
love him. Thank you for correcting me.
Anytime.
Oh, I love him. I loved
he
him
was
in
great.
IT Crowd, and he was fantastic as Jerry, one of the Jerrys.
But yeah, okay, so overall impressions though. Dallas said he liked it.
Yes, I did.
I liked it but I do have like some things that I would like to point out about it, but I generally liked it. It did make me ugly cry for various reasons.
That's interesting that it made you ugly cry, and yet you feel like you like it. You don't love it.
Yeah, because it made me cry.
Oh, see, okay. I guess we view that differently. Anyway,
There's just a lot of feelings that I have,
okay, yeah, that's fair.
and I don't know if I'm willing to put myself through that
That is 100% fair. Yeah, I get you.
again. Yeah.
I thought it was fine. It was fine. It didn't bother. I mean, there were parts of it that bothered me, but we can't really get into that because spoilers. But overall, yeah, I thought its message was kind of not terribly exciting, but it worked.
And to me,
I liked it. I didn't love it, but yeah, I liked it. I enjoyed watching it. Thought the music was really good. I actually really enjoyed the message of the movie, partially because I guess I have felt that way before deep down, even if I have never acknowledged it. Like that fear of like never reaching or succeeding in your purpose.
I mean, who hasn't, my dude?
But also realizing that like nobody's ever going to know if their purpose is specifically actually their purpose. You can only live with the idea that this purpose might be what you're meant to do. So living is actually about living and not just about working towards a purpose.
right? You got to live every minute of it.
See, but
Yeah.
then that,
Yeah, I
never
did
mind.
like that bit of it.
I really liked. It's funny because as a black person, I'm supposed to be upset about him turning into a little blue thing, but that segment of the movie, I'm not gonna say was more interesting, but like the way that they were doing that whole great before, great beyond, like the visuals and
that was
the
cool.
way, the way that they presented everything, like, oh, this is where you get this and this is where you get that.
Yeah,
And I was like, this is really interesting. We don't see this stuff a lot.
Yeah, I got to say that this movie at first was being promoted a lot more as black guy is going to turn into this blue soul thing and that's going to be the whole movie. So I thought I knew what this movie was going to be. And it turns out we don't spend as much time in the soul world as I thought. That was kind of
No.
the plot twist to me.
Yeah, a lot of it is on Earth with humans and a cat. But like,
Yeah.
it's not just, oh look, they're little squiggly blue people.
But I definitely think that the art design, the character designs, like were all very fascinating. Whenever, like, even in the human world, I thought, oh, this is really great, like art. This is really great character design and artwork. But also the soul world itself, anything to do with that world, was also very fascinating.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. I found myself wanting to spend a little bit more time there, even though I also was like wanting to get back to the human world too.
I feel it. Yeah.
It was interesting. I think maybe if it hadn't been like, yo, this is Pixar's first black starring Pixar movie, we'd have been cool with like staying in the soul world for like ever. But because we don't get that often with black characters, we were like, well, we kind of would like to see more of the black dude being the black dude.
I agree. And also, I feel like the Soul World was interesting because there was some really solid world building very quickly, and I was like, "Oh wow, like I like this." But also let's get
No,
back.
that megalomaniac joke had
Oh
me
my god,
dying.
that was hilarious.
I was
Oh
like,
yeah,
what? You
some
just
of
gonna
the
let this dude in the world?
some
They're like, "He's gonna be a handful."
some of the jokes were definitely great. Like, oh, this is you lot are gonna be insecure. You go over there. He's like, we should really stop sending so many of them down that path.
No, it was self-absorbed.
Self-absorbed, yes. Insecure was right before.
It's like you've been sending a lot of people that way recently. No, my favorite one is like we worked it out with Terry.
Terry.
Yes.
Terry was great.
Ugh.
Yeah, the Lost Soul. Oh, I gotta say, the Lost Soul designs too were actually terrifying.
Oh yeah, I did not like
Yeah.
that, but it was great.
That took a turn. But I was like, okay, this is interesting. And just that kind of stuff, like the whole concept of that is like tying it into something that applies to the real world. Because you look at it, it's like, oh, what are these creepy looking things? And they explain how they got that way. And I'm like, oh man,
We've all
that
been
is gonna hit
there.
home for some people.
Yeah,
It did hit home for some people.
it's it's really hard to talk about the rest of the movie though without like giving spoilers. I
Yeah.
will say that I was getting worried about how my liking of the movie almost completely hinged on how it was gonna end because I got real nervous because of the way that the plot went as to how it was going to end.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, same. I was looking at Kayla like, yo, are we doing this?
Yeah, I was like, this can't end like this. I can't like this movie if it ends like this. And it didn't, thank God. But
Oh, I want to know off mic how you guys feel, but I also agree with you, I think.
but yeah, there's currently discourse going on around the movie, and I will admit that that was something that I was concerned about as I was watching the film. I was kind of like, this is a little off-putting for me, but I still really enjoyed the movie itself. Literally, just casting somebody else would have made that issue a lot easier to swallow. But like, I thought that the acting was really good from everybody in the film. I was sad that David was not in that movie as much as I thought he was going
Yeah,
to
I
be.
was
Oh, me
Me
like
too.
when he
too.
popped up, it was like, "Hey," and then he went away, and it was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah,
However,
I agree.
his final scene is absolutely hilarious, but also really dark.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'll tell you guys later what I said out loud.
Oh, oh my gosh! But you
Uh,
know, Jamie Foxx is amazing in the film. I knew it was Jamie Foxx, and I know Jamie Foxx's voice pretty well. I've been watching Jamie Foxx my entire life.
Right.
There were times where I forgot that I was listening to Jamie Foxx and I was just watching Joe Gardner. And I really kind of got lost in the film and with this character.
Yeah. And
yeah.
I do want to address something about the discourse without getting too specific.
Yes.
And I'm gonna say why I don't really have the same problem that a lot of people do with a certain element. Because for me, the representation doesn't hinge upon this one character.
Oh.
Because when they're going through the fun and games, the middle of the movie,
Yeah.
we are still seeing black people, the black community, in a way that Pixar has never shown us.
That's so true. Yeah, I think a lot of movies have never shown us this in this light, and I totally agree with you on that point. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, like I've never expected to see a black barbershop scene in a Pixar movie.
And it was so
And the
accurate.
way it was accurate. The way they were talking was very authentic. Like, and then, the tailor shop with his mom and like, the old black aunties and all that stuff.
Mhm.
And if you let yourself get, I don't want to say distracted because how you feel is how you feel, but if you let yourself get bothered by the fact that, oh, this isn't spoiler, then all of those scenes will be lost to you because it's like you're missing out on all of that other representation because you're focused on this one character.
Yeah, I can agree with
So
that, and I think that's why it didn't bother me too much. I was like, but you know, whatever. The
yeah,
movie is
because
still
when it
really
first
good.
happened, I'm like, oh boy, they're doing that. But then it's like, okay, cool. We're still getting. He's going around his neighborhood. We're seeing all his friends.
Yeah.
So I
There's
enjoyed
still
that.
representation present, is what you're
Yeah,
saying.
it's on screen. It's not like we lost the representation.
Yeah, and that was my fear when I saw the trailer, because I was like, oh, so it's just gonna be he's just gonna be a blue blob the whole movie,
Right.
and
Because then
I
it's
was
like,
like,
oh, there's no representation there. It's just a bunch of
Blue
uh
blobs.
it's just like
yeah.
very or it's just very surface representation, right? You start off with one character and then that's it. And then you go off to this other world that we don't really know much about. But
Right.
the fact that they go back to Earth and then there's other points,
Hmm.
I see what you're saying. That
Yeah.
but it was I did have sort of reservations when I was like that did disappoint me when I saw the trailer, because I was like, "Oh, so we really don't get to see him very
Yeah.
much."
Like I said,
Um
it was all hinging on that ending for me.
Yes.
yeah.
But yeah, Demi, you were talking about Joe. It's a good segue into characters. What do you think of Joe?
I liked Joe. I thought Joe was interesting because Joe was likable, but also still very flawed. Like he still did things that weren't necessarily good. There were moments where he's kind of mean and selfish, but you know, like that's life. We get that way sometimes.
Yeah, his like thinking about me and myself kind of got to me at certain points. Just like some of his interactions with 22, aka
Yeah.
Tina Fey, because if you've seen the trailer, you know how he ends up in that situation, and it's like, bro, this is your fault. You should have been looking where you were going. So like, it sucks, and I know you don't want to be there, but you can't slight her or them. I feel like 22 isn't gendered because
Yeah.
it's just a free soul.
Yeah, it's weird.
Also, one of my favorite lines is, "Why do you sound like a middle-aged white lady?"
This is the most annoying sound in the world.
That was great.
Oh god. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh
But I
my
liked the
god, that's
characters.
amazing.
I liked Joe. I liked his mom. I liked his former student played by Questlove, you know.
Yeah, Curly, he was
Oh.
dope.
The barber, Dez was dope.
Donnell Rollins. I did not expect that to be his voice. So that
Oh,
was
yeah.
that was really cool though. I was glad that he got to play that role. And yeah, the barber's one of my favorite characters in the movie because he just kind of takes everything in stride. You're like, yo, you're being weird right now, but I'm gonna help you out because you got a situation going on. I gotta take care of that because I'm your barber.
Yeah, dude, when he took off the hat and he was like, "No, you gotta wait."
You gotta wait, son. I loved it. That's the kind of
Oh,
representation I needed.
goodness. Oh.
Yeah.
So there's some parts of the movie that like anybody can relate to, right? And like his relationship with his mom was something that I really like related to very hard. His music class, because I
Oh
was
yeah,
in music as a like in middle and high school.
I remember being like in those types of classes too as a kid because I played saxophone for a couple years.
Oh god, that
that
jazz
was a good one.
band. That jazz band scene. I was in jazz band in like middle school and it was exactly like that. It was just so like so many is like a memory unlocked.
Oh yeah,
So stuff like that was great too.
good stuff. I enjoyed
Also,
it. I enjoy. Oh, what's up?
I was just gonna say also with him being a jazz musician, like mostly he plays piano. I
Hmm.
just want to say it was nice that they still gave Jamie Foxx a moment to sing in the movie, even though it's not
Yeah,
Joe who's singing, it's the homeless guy. I think he's homeless. I want to say he's homeless. The guy who's on the subway.
is that Jamie?
Oh, I
I'm
think it
very
was just
certain that that's Jamie Foxx's voice. I've heard him sing enough.
Oh,
My mom was sitting next to me and she goes, "That's Jamie," which I would hope she knows because my dad used to work with him on music. So
oh nice.
nice. I didn't even put that together. I think it makes sense. That's
But
awesome. I didn't realize.
I don't think that guy was homeless. I think he was just a street musician.
yeah, just a street musician. I thought it was
Yeah.
cool that they let Jamie sing a little bit because he's so good. Also, the score on this movie is fantastic as well.
Yes, with Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, which
Yes,
I didn't expect because whenever I hear their names, I think of like David
Social
Fincher
Network,
movies. Yeah. So I was like, wait, what? They're doing Pixar,
Oh,
but they
nice.
do good work.
and then the actual jazz compositions and arrangements done by John Baptiste.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, good music. Good music. Which
Yeah.
this movie has to have good music given the whole premise and surrounding of it.
Exactly.
And Questlove is in it,
Yes. Ugh. I love that Questlove plays a drummer.
right? And that Felicia Rashad plays an older black mom because she's all of our older black moms.
And Angela Bassett plays a jazz diva.
Ugh.
I didn't realize
Okay.
that was her, to be honest.
Me
I didn't either.
either.
I saw the credits. I was like, Angela Bassett. I
Okay.
don't know why.
I was like, I know this voice. This is gonna bother me the whole movie. And then in the credits, I was like, of course.
Yeah, there
Oh,
was like one line she delivered, and I was like, "That Jennifer Lewis," because of the way she like raises her voice. Yeah, Angela Bassett was not on my mind, but shout out to her. She
yeah,
played her role.
she's so talented.
Final thoughts?
Yeah, I very much enjoyed it. It's definitely one that I wish I could watch a couple times before recording this, but I finished it like 40 minutes ago, so that wasn't in the cards. But yeah, I really like it. It's pretty high up on my Pixar list. Shout out to Black people.
Gabby, Colin.
I had a lot of feelings. It was a really good movie. It was like I forgot about the whole pre-soul thing, and then I was like, oh no. But yeah, it's okay.
Colin.
Me. Yeah, it just didn't do that much for me. Like, it didn't bother me, but I was just like, all right, cool. I don't really need to watch that again.
And I personally enjoyed it. I really liked it. And yeah, go into it with an open mind. La La Land could never. Moving on to our next movie.
Got the way to work that in there. Huh?
Had to. On to our next movie. I think I'm the only one who watched it. I watched We Can Be Heroes, which is on Netflix, directed, written, and edited by Robert Rodriguez. The man. Yeah, so We Can Be Heroes. When alien invaders kidnap Earth's superheroes, their children must team up and learn to work together if they want to save their parents and the world. The movie stars a very large group of child actors who were all really great. I don't know if I should name off all of them because there are like 8 or 9, possibly 10, maybe more. There's a lot of them. But the adult actors consist of Priyanka Chopra, Jonas, Pedro Pascal, Boyd Holbrook, Christian Slater, Taylor Dooley coming back to portray Lava Girl, Sung Kang, and Haley Reinhardt. It's a very large cast.
Dope cast.
This movie is about the kids. For me, I really enjoyed it because it just, for me, I was watching it and I was like, oh, this is like Spy Kids, but with superheroes. I'm down for that because I loved Spy Kids growing up. That was one of my favorite movies as a kid. It's the
Dope
reason
movie.
why. Yeah, it's the reason I became a Robert Rodriguez fan in the first place. I've been a fan of Robert Rodriguez since I was like 8.
Yeah, dude, Spy Kids forever.
Spy Kids. But yeah, it's just so weird because Robert Rodriguez is like, has so much range. Like everybody talks about Quentin Tarantino, but like Robert Rodriguez has so much range because he has like his kids movies, like this movie or Spy Kids or Shark Boy and Lava Girl, and then you've got movies like Sin City and El Mariachi and Desperado, Once Upon a Time in Mexico,
Yeah.
and then there's like Alita Battle Angel. Like he has so much range as a director, but his kids movies are always just really like lively and fun, and yeah, they're kind of corny, but like they're just fun.
They're for kids too. Like
Yeah.
he's one of those people that seems to just make movies for it. He's like, nah, this isn't a family movie. This is just for the kids.
Yeah, and he's also a really good action director.
Yeah.
So I would recommend this movie if you've got kids, or if you grew up loving Spy Kids. I think that there's a pretty good plot twist ending that I did not anticipate, and I was like, oh, that's really nice. I kind of thought that I knew where the movie was going once it got to a certain point, and then the ending happened, and I was like, oh, that really kind of subverted my expectations, and I really really appreciate that. That's really nice. I like the message that we're giving here. So check it out. Like I said, if you've got kids or if you like Spy Kids growing up. I also thought it was really cool that Robert Rodriguez got his kids working on this film. One of the producers on the film is Racer Max, aka Racer Rodriguez, and the composer on the film is Rebel Rodriguez. So that's really cool.
Oh.
That was pretty dope.
So yeah, We Can Be Heroes. Moving on to another Pedro Pascal film,
Yes, Bay.
Wonder Woman 1984. It finally came out, guys.
It
It did.
did.
It did indeed. Directed again by Patty Jenkins. Screenplay by Patty Jenkins, Jeff Johns, and Dave Callahan. It's his Wonder. Okay, so the reason I introed this podcast the way I did is because a week ago, I don't know, whenever the embargo was lifted or whatever, I saw this tweet that was very hyperbolic in how much it hated this movie. And I was like, whoa, that's unexpected. And then I saw another one saying something similar, and then another one and another one. And I realized that the only reviews I was seeing for this movie that were negative were from Black people. And I was very confused. I was like, is this movie racist? I feel like it wouldn't be, but I haven't seen it.
Which is funny
So-
because in the days after it came out, I have heard that it is racist, but not against Black people.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So
Right? Yeah,
It
I'm
is,
hearing
right?
that. I was a little
As far as I could
confused. I
tell.
was like, oh, maybe Black people aren't the ones who should be mad about this movie.
I'm still
But
trying to figure that out, to be honest.
But anyway, this podcast isn't about that. How did you guys feel about this movie?
I
Well,
thought
should we
it
give a
was
synopsis on it?
Yeah, let's do
um,
Oh, sure.
that.
set in 1984 during the Cold War. The film follows Diana and her past love, Steve Trevor, as they face off against Max Lord and Cheetah. That is a version of what happens in this movie.
I mean, that is what
Yep.
happens. That's just a
Yeah,
very general
At its most
version of what
basic,
happened.
yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
that is the most basic. Shout out to Wikipedia for giving me that.
What did you guys think?
I thought it was very
It was fine.
Okay, so I'll give you my actual reaction in a second. But the
Can't
truth is, it's a 0 out of 10. And I will tell you why. I did not hear Tina Guo's electric cello anywhere in this movie. Waste of my time.
Right?
Why
Oh my
did they
gosh.
even bother? Like, they had the
Oh, you're
theme,
right.
and I heard the theme, but it never hit. And I was just like, I kept waiting and waiting and thinking, they're going to do it. They're going to do it. They're going to do it. Nope. So anyway, 0 out of 10. That said, yeah, this movie is fine. It's very
Yeah.
long.
Oh my gosh, it's so long. I liked the movie, but like, yo, it's a very flawed movie. It was very I found myself thinking, even though I had grounded my anticipation for it because of the reviews that were coming out, even from friends, I was just like still disappointed.
Yeah.
Because the
Yeah.
first movie I really
Right.
liked.
That's the
First
thing,
movie
is
was
that the first movie
amazing.
hit such a high level for me. I went
Yeah.
into this one thinking, man, what you gonna do? And then it was like, okay,
It's like nothing.
You didn't
you
do
did
anything.
something.
I'm just kidding.
Like, it didn't upset me, but it's just like, all right.
Yeah, that's
That's
how I
my thing,
feel.
yeah. It didn't
I'm
upset me, but it didn't hit.
yeah.
No,
I was waiting for it to hit and it never did. That's what it was.
there were things about it that hit, I think, is what frustrates me.
Yeah, there
Tell
were
me.
moments.
Tell me
Mhm.
tell me about them for you guys, because for me, I didn't really feel that way.
Well, kind of, I guess we got to get to like characters for that.
Okay.
But
Let's talk about the story
Well,
Okay.
okay.
because
So there's too much story.
Yeah.
oh my god. Well,
Almost. Yeah.
see,
Yeah.
the thing is,
Almost
I
too much.
think
Yeah.
it works.
Yeah.
The
That's the
thing is,
thing.
what bothers me about it is there are moments where it's like one story is absolutely more interesting at this point, and so the
Yes.
fact that we're focusing on the other one is kind of annoying.
Absolutely. But see, my thing was filmmakers and film studios need to learn from Into the Spider-Verse that if you are going to do multiple
You can really
villains,
stop right there.
they,
Just learn from the Spider
yeah,
Verse.
learn from
yes, they need to
Spider-Verse.
learn from that. But also, like in this particular instance, if you're going to do multiple villains, they need to intertwine from the beginning. We don't really have time for you to wait until the
Yeah.
end of the movie to finally get the two villains together. The movie just needed to be streamlined a lot more. And I thought it would have been better if Cheetah, instead of having Barbara become a villain at the end of the movie, just let her be an ally the way that Etta Candy was in the last movie. And then when you do the third movie, just have her become Cheetah in that movie. And then that hurts a lot more.
Ooh,
And just focus
okay.
on Max Lord in the second movie. Because his storyline, I thought that villainy storyline was a lot more interesting
I
as a
don't
villain
know
storyline.
about that.
Well,
I
that's the one that took
hmm,
up most of the movie.
it is, but I did not find him nearly as interesting as Barbara.
Him as a character, maybe not. Although Pedro Pascal's performance is fantastic.
Oh, he's fantastic. He always
He is
is.
eating scenery in this movie, and it's
Oh,
great.
I love it.
He's the MVP probably. Because the thing is, I loved watching Kristen Wiig play Barbara. I agreed with you. I thought she was very interesting, but I wasn't getting enough of her character. And I would
Okay.
have liked to sit with her more before we got to the ending where she,
Yes,
does the
I can
inevitable.
see what you're saying. I think what I would have wanted is more in the beginning to establish how she feels about herself. Because a lot
Yeah.
of what we saw was how other people feel about her, or don't really. And that's cool. But I think if we learned a bit more about her before things happened to her, it would have worked a little better.
Yeah. And also, I just feel like she and Diana just weren't friends enough for it to really feel like a betrayal towards the end.
That is fair. They did kind of feel like just good coworkers.
Yeah, and I would have been cool if we had had a whole movie of Barbara just being Diana's friend, and then in the third movie we get Barbara being Cheetah.
Yeah, so like toward the end when Barbara's going, "Oh, you've always had everything." Da, 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 da. Kayla and I were saying, you met this woman, I don't know, a few days ago, depending on how
Yeah.
time passes in this movie, and all you know about her is that she fell in love with a guy and he died. So, what are you talking about? You see her and you're like, "Oh, she's so pretty and she has a good job. She must have everything she ever wants." Like, bro, all I've ever told you about my life is that I fell in love with a dude and he died.
It's also like you have,
Wanna
as
switch
far as
places
I
with me?
understand it, an equivalent job. Like, I don't know salary or anything like that, but
You
you're
guys work in
working
the
in the
same
same
place.
place.
Your offices are across from each other.
There's
Yeah.
God,
It
I don't know
was
why there's so much about this movie I want to talk about and can't, because when we get to characters, I have thoughts.
Well, okay. Like I said, I think the story is all over the place, and I think it needed to be streamlined.
I didn't care for it.
I think that's my main issue with this film.
I remember I read a tweet that said the movie feels like a longer director's cut, and yeah, it kind of does. Like it just feels like you crammed as much in there as you could get, and you didn't need it.
That's fair. I
But there
don't know.
were
I was
moments.
Absolutely.
The moment where I can't even say it because it's a spoiler. There's a moment. There's a moment like at the end of the second act. I think it's the Dark Night of the Soul moment or the All Is Lost moment. But there's a scene, and I
Is
was
that
just
the
like,
moment
"Oh,
when
this
she
is
ends up running into the street?
yes."
Yeah.
That
Okay.
moment hit hard
It
for me.
didn't for me.
I thought that was just a well shot scene,
I see.
and
I
it was
think I can see. I
well
think
done.
story wise for me, that particular storyline felt so much like a retread of the first movie that it didn't hit for me.
I liked that though.
Like about halfway through, I was like, "Oh, okay, we're doing this again."
Well, that's
All
what I
right.
liked about that. It was a reversal, which I mean, we can get into the character thing now because they do a reversal with Wonder Woman with Diana and Steve, where Steve is now the fish out of water, and Diana is the one who has to teach him about the world.
yeah, that's cute.
Mm. Yeah, that was fun. Except
And Chris Pine gets to be super funny.
Yeah, he's my favorite part about this movie.
He was your favorite part about the last one too.
That's true.
I'm cool with Steve coming back as a concept. The way it happened, I do not like at all.
Oh, that
And
was
we
a
can't
problem.
talk about it, but ethically, I do not like it at all because I need to know what happened.
We can
And
get into
I'm
that
never
off
gonna
mic because
find
I
out.
also
We
have
can't.
questions about
We can't. I just
Yeah.
want to say, Christopher Palaha, you deserved a lot better than this.
Wait, they also there was also a Chris?
His
That's
his name is
that's why
yes.
it worked.
that. I didn't. So the way that he came back is kind of tied to a larger issue I have with this movie.
Okay.
Is that the storyline in general doesn't really work for me because I don't like the whole thing with Maxwell Lord and like the wishes. I don't really. It doesn't really work for me.
Okay. Why
And
not?
it's
I
not
was kind of
just
confused
because
about it.
it's not just because it gives me logistical questions that later on they just were like, it's a comic book, don't worry about it.
See, the thing is
The wish thing never had rules. That's the problem.
no, the thing is they gave it rules and it followed those rules. You just
No, it
it was
didn't.
confused. Yes, it did. It
No,
did.
They
it
tried to
didn't.
give it rules
They
Yes, it
tried.
did.
It did.
late,
They
like
never
halfway through.
followed the
It
rules.
followed the rules. It just wasn't clear about the fact that it was. But when I thought about it, it's like, no, yes, everybody gets one wish and they get that wish and it takes something from you. And it did follow that.
I just also this movie, a friend of mine, shout out to Andrew, was talking about how it has that like kind of older feel in some aspects.
As
I
it
agree,
should,
and I
I would
don't mind that
And
so much.
my thing is, there's a reason I don't read old comic books because I don't like them. So this movie did a pretty good
what
job
don't you
of.
like?
Okay, so you know at the beginning of this movie happens in the mall, and
Yes.
it's
Oh, the
like
mall. Okay.
maybe
I
it
thought you
didn't
meant the
really
Themyscira part.
feel that way to you, but for me, it just felt super corny and cheesy.
Well, I mean, see, that's the thing, right? Is that it's a question of what do you expect from superhero movies and stuff like that. And I think that this works if that's the kind of movie you want to make that is sort of corny and a bit more not as serious and a bit more like superheroes will save the day and let's have a blaring
Right.
fanfare and it works.
Which is what I'm saying is from a personal standpoint, this is the reason
You just
I
don't
don't
jive with
read
that?
old comic books because
Mm.
they came from that era that was still very cheesy and corny.
Hmm.
I'm not
That's
into that.
I mean, that tone was a response to the very dark and nitty gritty movies and comic books that were being made at that time before then.
for me, while this isn't my thing, I'm glad it exists as a contrast to so much other superhero media that is out there.
As a contrast to like the dark and doom and gloom
Yes.
and all that.
Yes.
I feel like there's a way to do that.
But not go this far.
I don't know if they went too far because there are movies that I like that are definitely silly and cheesy, corny. Like
Mhm.
Shazam is my favorite DCEU movie, but it doesn't
Well,
feel like
there's
this
a
does.
difference, I think, because Shazam knows it's silly and it says, hey, this is silly, and we recognize that it's silly and we want it to be silly. Wonder Woman to me is not trying to be silly, it's just trying to be sincere, and either you rock with that or you don't.
So I
And I
think that's
think
the
it is
problem. If you're trying
sincere.
to be sincere, you just come off as silly versus if you're trying to be silly and you come off as silly.
Mm.
Well, I personally liked the 80s aesthetic that they were going for, the 80s movie tone that this movie had. I love
Aesthetic is
80s
dope.
movies.
I like colors are fun.
I'm a huge 80s movies fan, so I did appreciate that for this.
There should have been more 80s music.
That there definitely needed to be more 80s music. Why was
Like,
this
I
movie
thought they
set
were
in the
gonna go
80s?
Guardians with it, you know?
Yeah. Why was this movie set in the 80s if you weren't going to take advantage of the fact that it was set in the 80s?
Right? Which they did with fashion and stuff, but like,
Yeah, my mom pointed out a couple of things in the movie where she was like, "Ha, I remember those. Yeah, I remember that." So that was kind of nice. But yeah, this movie has like its moments. Like I said, I like the movie, but I find it to be very middling.
yeah. And it's also just I felt its length, and
Oh
that
my gosh,
sucks.
every second of it, which is crazy because I didn't feel the length of the first one.
No, I didn't either, but this one I mean, it was also like I had to take breaks, and so that extended the time it took me to watch it, but
True.
I was just, I was watching it and I was texting somebody and I was like, "Oh god, I still have 40 minutes left. Oh
Yo,
god."
I knew this movie. I knew I was feeling the length of this movie where I reached 45 minutes into the movie, had to press pause so my brother could go to the bathroom, and realized that the story hadn't even really started yet.
Oh no.
And this movie's only 10 minutes longer than the last one.
Exactly.
That's
It just feels so
insane.
much longer because, like, what are y'all doing with it?
A lot. They're doing a lot with it.
Mm,
That's how it be, man. They get to the second one and they try and make it bigger and better, but like it doesn't have to be bigger.
it's true.
We liked the first one for a reason.
I'd also argue that this one didn't stake-wise, I feel like it didn't get that much bigger.
It had no stakes, which is crazy.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
it's
I don't
Bad
think
things
it had
bad things are happening, but there are really no stakes.
Well,
Well,
it
there's
depends
stakes
on
toward
what
the
you
end.
call stakes. I mean, once Maxwell's plan actually happens, that is the stakes because it sounds like the world will destroy itself.
You could say the same thing about Suicide Squad, but I would still argue that Suicide Squad really doesn't
Listen, she
better
will hula hoop the world to destruction. You don't know.
better I guess a better phrase would be that they don't build up to those stakes well enough for me to feel the stakes that are there.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, that's a different sentiment.
Because I will say that I think the third act of this movie is far better than the third act in the first movie.
I don't know if I would say far better, but I would definitely say, yeah, it's a little more satisfying.
I think the first movie has more emotional satisfaction, but I think this one just is structurally just is a better third act.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. The third act of the first one it's a letdown. It's fine, but eh.
But also, they covered up that cheetah CGI very well in this movie.
Yes. Speaking of that, Gabby's been kind of quiet. Gabby, you still here? Did we lose Gabby?
She's muted herself. Oh, she's no.
Oh.
Oh no, I've been reacting this whole time
Yeah,
and
we
I've
should
been
go.
my
muted.
God.
No.
I was wondering why
Oh.
Gabby was so quiet during this
like, yeah.
entire review for Wonder Woman.
The
Oh
whole
my
time.
god, I'm so sorry.
Oh, my God.
Oh, tragic.
This is very
Goodness
tragic.
Oh god.
Although, Gabby, you did come in at the perfect time. What are your thoughts on Cheetah and all her?
I don't know.
Furry
She's a
Specifically
villain?
third act cheetah.
Yeah, just the animal part. She was
It
an
was a
animal.
villain? I don't know.
You're letting down your
So on the
correspondent,
YIF scale, how we feeling?
right?
Like, would you hit that?
Gabby, you got to speak for Yif Gang out here.
What? No, that's not me. That's Colin. Colin, speak for the Yif gang.
What do you want me to say? Like, I'm not into cheetah because it's, well,
A woman.
yeah. Okay, all right. I was gonna try to find a gentler way, but yes.
I mean, it's the truth.
Also because I don't know that I'd want to be with somebody who would like snap me in half, and she would. You say the wrong thing, she will snap you in half.
It's a conversation
Now,
for later.
to be fair, that one
Mhm.
dude kind of absolutely deserved it, but I don't know. That's just too much.
Yeah, but they covered up that CGI really well in the end. I was like, oh, they're using the darkness and this blue color light for their
absolutely.
advantage.
They did, and you know
They
what?
don't want you
Good
to
on
see
them.
shit.
Because I was like, oh, this doesn't look anywhere near as bad as the trailer. It still doesn't look amazing, but it doesn't look as bad as the trailer did.
Yeah, it did not look good. They should have just gone with makeup.
They did partially.
Partially.
I mean, her face has
Nah,
makeup
they
on
should have just made her a straight up catsuit.
it.
You should just got the people from Cats.
No, because I actually think that these look better than the people from Cats. In fact, my mother did not complain about this cheetah
Oh,
except to say,
absolutely.
"Why does she have a tail?" In comparison to when she watched Cats. So
Yeah, the cats and cats are upsetting. Cheetah was fine.
She said, "Why does she have a tail?"
Yeah, she was like, "What?" My mom doesn't know. I don't think my mom knows who Cheetah is. I don't think she knew how this movie was gonna end with Barbara. So she was
I
like,
get
"Why
that.
does she have
Oh,
a tail?"
that
It's
was
cheetah.
also just an interesting interpretation of what she asked for. If I hadn't known where it was going, I would never have thought that that was where it was going to go.
Yeah.
It was
Like,
yeah.
she
It was
asked
like
for
that's
something
what.
vague, that's fair. And then that's the result. I don't know if that's what you wanted, dude.
I
Where's the
imagine it.
truth in that wish?
See this? I don't like the wish thing, but also one more thing I want to point out that's more nitpicky than anything
Mhm.
is that there is so much leopard print in this movie
I love it.
and
A
Yeah.
not a
lot.
single bit of
Yeah.
cheetah print.
Oh, okay. I see what
Oh,
you mean.
Oh.
I see what you mean.
oh,
Oh.
really?
There is a difference.
There is.
And as soon as she looks down at Diana's shoes, and the movie's doing the wink, wink, nudge, nudge. She likes cheetahs, and I'm like, no, she doesn't. That's leopard spots.
There is a difference between the two. Yeah, you are correct on that one. But
I was
most
just like,
people will never know that.
that's the thing is most people were like, oh, cheetah, I get it, and I'm just like, so somebody at Warner Brothers knows the difference, bro. Where were you at? Where were you that day?
Right?
There's so much to say about this movie, but I think we actually do need to move on. So, final thoughts.
Final thoughts for me, it was okay. Yeah.
For me, it was fine. I wish it was paced a little bit better. And I wish I'd had a moment like I had in the first one where it was like, yeah.
Oh, we didn't get
Um,
a No Man's Land this time.
Yo, that's a good point. Yeah, like this movie makes me want to watch the first one again because the first one was just so much more what I didn't even know I wanted.
Yeah,
And now I
Yeah.
knew that I wanted it. This movie didn't deliver. And it was like, well, okay.
I am less sad. Yeah.
I liked it, and I'll probably watch it more than once for sure. I was still disappointed, but I think now that I know what I'm getting into, I might like it more now that I know. Yeah, if you like the first Wonder Woman, you might like this one. If you like superhero movies in general, you might like this one. If you like 80s movies, you should give it a shot.
One thing I want to point out is that Colin sent me a tweet that said this movie starts with Amazon Fall Guys, and that was so funny to me
It really
because
did.
I did not put that together until you. I was like, oh my god, that's
I didn't
literally
either,
Fall
but
Guys.
then I
That's
saw that
Ellen.
tweet and I was like, yeah, that's exactly what this is.
So yeah, shout out to whoever tweeted that.
I do appreciate them expanding the mascara for that one scene that we got to be there.
Yeah, that was great.
The
I kind
island
of
looks
wish
so
if
much
we were
bigger this
getting
time around.
expansion of Themyscira that we would get culture and not just like a competition,
Hopefully, next
but
movie.
we'll see.
Speaking of next movie, that's actually our first piece of news is the fact that Patty Jenkins and Gal Gadot are already in talks to come back for a third Wonder Woman movie.
Good for them.
Unsurprising. They were probably gonna do that regardless. Like
Well, Patty Jenkins
she got
was
the money she wanted.
no, I think she got the theatrical release window that she wanted. That
Ah, so
that's what
first it was the money, and then it was the theatrical release.
yeah, first movie it was the money. Now it
That's
was the
right.
theatrical release window. Which seems to be probably what she got because now it looks like, yeah, that's going to be a thing that happens. I don't know how they're going to work out that schedule. I don't know if WB is going to be waiting for her to do Rogue Squadron for Disney or if she's going to go into Wonder Woman, but I feel like she might just do Rogue Squadron next. But it's for sure that we're going to be waiting a while for Wonder Woman, I think. There's also the Cleopatra project that she and Gal Gadot have going too.
Oh, that's them too.
I think that's Patty Jenkins too, yeah.
Wow,
Yeah, they're doing great with Egyptian stuff so far.
Oh, Lord.
See how that works out.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. That just made me very,
Uh-oh.
I was already
See, I
worried.
feel like people forgot about the Cleopatra thing because it came up and then it disappeared. People are gonna remember.
Well, no, it came back up recently, like right before Wonder Woman 1984 came out.
Oh no! But
And,
now Wonder Woman 1984 is out.
and it's gonna be a rough road.
People are gonna be mad.
They're already mad. They were already mad, and now they're gonna be even angrier.
Yeah.
I didn't even get to talk about that. I actually thought everybody in Wonder Woman 1984 actually gave a good performance.
Oh yeah, they did.
I thought everybody gave a great performance. For the record,
That's true.
Yo,
That's true.
Kristen Wiig was killing it.
I thought she was really good.
real.
Oh, she was so sweet. Until she wasn't.
But also a waste of Natasha Rothwell, ladies and gentlemen.
Who?
You're gonna have her in this movie and she doesn't get to be funny. Get out of here with this.
Who?
Oh, was she the one black woman in the movie?
Yes,
Okay.
There was a black woman in the movie.
she was the
Yeah,
boss.
She just
Oh, right, the one who was telling Barbara about the job and stuff.
Yes,
Oh, her. She's great.
she's an
Give me
actress and a writer, and she's absolutely hilarious. She's the one who she's the growth mean.
yeah,
You know?
you know what that is?
Oh, that's
Growth.
her?
Yeah,
Yes,
that's her.
that's her.
Wow.
She's on
Got it.
Insecure.
Oh, yes, I know her. Yeah, I usually like her.
She's fantastic, and they didn't let her be funny in this movie. I was so disappointed. I was like, "How you got her on screen and she ain't being funny? What's happening?"
What a waste.
Like, it wasn't even that she wasn't like either be really funny or have her do something dramatic, but you didn't have her do either.
She was just kind of there.
Exactly. But anyway, Wonder Woman 3. That's the thing that's happening.
Cool.
I mean, yeah, that's cool. It's another movie.
Yeah.
Hopefully, they include the characters that we fan cast the other day.
Yo, y'all better bring Nubia in here because y'all got what, a black person between these first two movies?
I was when on that first sequence in Themyscira, I was looking for people who were not white, and there were a few,
Yeah.
but they were
Yeah.
outnumbered.
But they were
Okay, I'm not gonna count
outnumbered.
extras who don't speak.
That is 100%.
So they've got like 3,
Yeah.
I think they're
4.
all in
They've
this.
got 4. 3
Okay.
of which
Were
are
they
in this movie.
In the first, I was gonna say who's in the first one.
The first one was Florence Kasumba.
All right, Senator.
Oh, that's right.
But yeah, bring Nubia, or I'm not watching.
I would also like Donna Troy to be brought into the party.
I'm sure they will eventually.
I
Hopefully.
hope so. Let's build, guys. Let's expand. Let's do this. Those are my desires for Wonder Woman 3, as well as for it to be as good as the first one.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. We were talking about Robert Rodriguez earlier. The man is going to be executive producing the book of Boba Fett, which is another show that's going to be coming to Disney Plus for Star Wars next year,
Yay.
2021, which means that The Mandalorian is actually going to be come out in 2022. I believe.
What?
Yeah, I think that's
No.
what they announced, is that Mando is going to be 2022. Book of Boba Fett is 2021, I believe.
I'm sorry.
December 2021. It says at the end of the last episode of Mandalorian.
It does indeed.
I just watched it last night, so that's why I remember.
I got to admit, at first I was not particularly excited because I was like, yeah, I like Boba Fett, and I think he's cool on The Mandalorian. I just like
and
have
then
never.
Ming-Na Wen.
No, but even then I was like, okay, I'll watch the show for Ming-Na Wen because I think she's amazing and she's great and she deserves this. And also, Tamora Morrison is doing a great job as Boba Fett. So, like, yeah, sure, fine, I'll watch because I'm a Star Wars fan. But then finding out that Robert Rodriguez is the one who's going to be show running it with Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. Oh my gosh!
Ooh. Okay, pues. Yeah, you got me.
After the episode that he did for Boba Fett on The Mandalorian, absolutely, I want to watch Robert Rodriguez.
He did the like really short episode, right?
Yes, and I don't think
Yeah.
I want to see anybody else
Yo,
in charge of that show
here
but
is
him.
the thing. Mandalorian, I still don't know how I feel about it. That episode was probably the one episode that I like legitimately enjoyed all the way through.
The one where
So,
Boba
like,
was just
let
smashing
him
stormtrooper
do-
helmets.
Let Robert Rodriguez do more things. No, see,
Yeah.
that brought up a whole other issue, which I don't know why the Mandalorian keeps having me thinking about death, but it's like you are killing so many people and they have lives and you don't care. And that's fine, but oh my God.
I mean, Boba's like, they tried to kill me first.
No, I know, but it was just everybody. I was like, wow, you're killing so many people.
Robert Rodriguez
don't
actually showed us why Boba Fett is cool. Like, for years, people have thought Boba Fett was
I've
cool,
never
but Boba has
But based on what, my
Never
dude?
shown us. Exactly.
he's never shown us anything that's cool except for the fact that his costume was cool and he just had a cool attitude.
Took
That
a
was it.
swan dive into a sarlacc pit. Like,
Yeah.
But like, never have we ever seen like Boba Fett be mercenary, like peak Boba Fett. And now
And then
Robert
we got
Rodriguez has
him.
shown us. And I
Yep.
loved what he said about it. He was like, if I was going to do an episode about Boba Fett, I was going to make sure that he was everything that you want Boba Fett to be. Like, he's not going to be part of it. He's going to be all Boba Fett in this episode, as if this is the only episode you're ever going to see him ever again. And I was just like, that's
Yes.
so good. And you're so great. And you've made Boba Fett like super cool now. And now he's going to have his own show that is being executive produced by Robert Rodriguez. So the action's going to be dope. And they're going back into the criminal underground of the Star Wars galaxy, which started off in Solo. So hopefully, maybe we'll get some.
Kira? Yes.
Kira, can I have Kira back, please?
that's fine. You can have Kira if we get some Lando.
Well, he's
We
getting his
better.
own show.
Oh, okay. But they could also cross over.
Yes. Please.
I'll take as much of Donald
They've already
Glover
crossed
as-
over. Boba crossed over on The
Give us-
Mandalorian. It's possible. And what's her name? Ahsoka crossed over on The Mandalorian. So it is possible. Crossover is possible.
But
That's true.
also, shout out to this show because it is going to be led by 2 Asian people.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Because Tamora Morrison is Pacific Islander and
Right,
Ming-Na Wen is
yeah, yeah.
Chinese.
Cool.
So shout out to them. Double headlining. and it is being showrun by Robert Rodriguez, who is Latinx, I believe.
Yes, I think so. I mean, you would think that Antonio Banderas was also Mexican based off all the movies he's made, and yet,
Well, I mean, he's in a lot of Robert Rodriguez films, which is also what helped me believe that.
yeah. So he's an American filmmaker of Mexican descent.
Yeah, he's dope. I love Robert Rodriguez. Like I said earlier, have for a long time. So it'll be cool
Yeah.
to see what he does with Boba, and I'm excited. They're already shooting the show. Should be dope.
Yay.
And that's all the news that we have for you guys today because we had 3 movies to review.
Yeah, we've been here for like an hour.
Yes, and for some part of that, Gabby was completely muted
I'm so sorry.
for most of the Wonder Woman conversation.
So you guys
I
have
thought,
now
and I
missed.
was like fully talking on my side.
What did you wonder why we weren't acknowledging the things that you were saying?
Yeah, I did, but I was like, well, maybe I'm just, you know what? I did interrupt there. She can keep talking.
That's a funny
Aw.
thing because I was pointing. I was like, "Yo, if Gabby is talking, that means she was trying to talk over us because we didn't have a whole lot of gaps." Oh boy.
Well, thank you guys for joining us on another review. We've had so few far and in between. It's our last review of 2020.
Yes, we are saying goodbye to this year with some streaming movies because theaters are dead, cinema is dead, blah blah blah.
Stop it
Thank you.
now.
Thank you, audience, for listening to all of that. Thank you, Crown Digital, Brandon, and Io for putting us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Demi, thank you for editing and repping for the Robert Rodriguez fandom because, got to give people their flowers.
To be honest, there's only one other person I know who is a bigger Robert Rodriguez fan than me. Shout out to Andrew. Not the Andrew you were talking about, different Andrew.
Different Andrew.
Yeah.
We all got Andrew. Shout out to the Andrews. And I was going to thank Gabby and Colin for repping for the Yif Gang, but y'all didn't. So,
Well, no,
Should've.
you asked my
Yeah, 'cause I'm not a
opinion and I
furry.
gave it. Gabby deflected. So if
hey,
you want
Gabby
to
said the
thank me,
catchphrase.
that's fine. But don't thank her for it because she didn't acknowledge it.
That's why I didn't. I said I'm not thanking either of you because neither
Why
of you
aren't
really
you
rep.
thanking me? I answered the question.
You just didn't really rep for the Yif Gang,
What did you want me to say?
I don't know. Just
What
give
does
some
repping
kind of-
mean? That yeah, it's furry and therefore I want to fuck it? Like,
Oh,
bruh,
whoa.
what do you
whoa.
want?
Whoa. I think the furries out there might just like some representation.
Just
I
like
mean,
we
in
like
theory, they
representation.
have it in Cheetah.
Moving on.
Once again, not a furry.
Hey, she said the catchphrase twice.
It's not a catchphrase.
I mean, you said it twice in the last
Explain
minute.
it.
You said it more than anybody else I know.
I'm mad.
Anyway, moving on from you furries. If you want to talk to us about Wonder Woman, Black people, blue blobs, etc., you can find us on the medias, Twitter, y'all_different, Instagram and Tumblr, Creative Differences Podcast, or Facebook.com/Creative Differences PC. If you want to talk to me about the differences between cheetah and leopard spots, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at a king named Simba.
If you want to talk to me, Gabby, about soul, etc., I'm on the Instagrams at Stegosaurus.
You can find me on Twitter at Duck McGuck.
And you guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Dreamy Films. Dreamy is spelled DREEMI. Let us know what you guys thought of these 3 films if you guys watched them. Thanks again for joining us.
It's been different. Bye.